My name is Simon Eddy. I'm the Chief Executive of Harman Finter Group, and this is a approximately 15-minute presentation about well-being, mainly executive well-being. We'll talk about the workplace well-being risks, and then we'll talk about various indicators and assessments that we can use for well-being, and then we'll talk about developing a culture of well-being in your organization. So here are some of the risks against workplace well-being. So this curve is showing how change can impact health. So this is changes in the workplace. We can experience anxiety, fear, threat, guilt, even depression and hostility. Now, if we have too many changes, too many projects on the go, we can experience initiative fatigue. This is something which I can vouch for, having worked there myself. I can vouch for the fact that this occurs in the NHS quite frequently. Too many initiatives, unclear goals, lack of resources, poor communication. These are common features of initiative fatigue. Anxiety is very common in the workplace. Job insecurity is a big factor in that. Fear of losing one's job. Heavy workload is usually the highest ranked in order of the causes of anxiety. There are various symptoms which we can experience: feeling nervous, tense or on edge, having difficulty concentrating, some physical symptoms as well, having trouble sleeping, loss of appetite. This is all too common in the workplace. Stress is another major problem in the workplace, another risk. 76% of employees report moderate to high levels of stress. 33% of employees, and this is the key takeaway here, 33% of employees report that high levels of stress impact productivity. That's the last thing we want as an organization. Some of the symptoms of stress are physical symptoms: headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, changes in appetite, nausea, chest pain, rapid heartbeat. It goes on. Emotional symptoms: anxiety, irritability, anger, sadness, hopelessness, difficulty concentrating. We can also get behavioral symptoms such as procrastination, withdrawal from social activities, or even substance abuse or reckless behavior. Here are some of the countermeasures to stress, and you'll begin to see a theme here with our countermeasures, as they're all fairly similar for each of the risks. Exercise regularly. It's a great way to reduce stress. Get enough sleep. You're better able to cope with stress when you're well rested. Eat a healthy diet. Practice relaxation techniques. Spend time with loved ones. Social support is important for managing stress. Learn to say no. It's okay to say no to things you don't have time for. Also, we need organizational support for that. Take breaks when you're feeling stressed. It's important to take breaks. Or if things are really bad, seek professional help. So, burnout is caused by prolonged stress. It's a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. The same symptoms as stress, and it's most common in high-stress jobs. I can vouch for the fact, having worked for the NHS, that burnout is a regular feature with employees of the NHS. So with burnout, we can begin to see reduced productivity, increased costs due to staff absenteeism or turnover of staff and healthcare claims even, damage to reputation, and increased staff turnover. Here we go with the countermeasures to burnout. Taking time off doesn't always work, or works for a little while, and then you go back to the normal work situation and things are bad again. Practicing relaxation techniques, making lifestyle changes such as getting enough sleep, healthy diet, exercising regularly. You can see the theme developing here with countermeasures. Seeking professional help if you're really struggling. These are good management practices. Set realistic expectations. Take breaks, delegate tasks, take care of yourself, seek help if you need it. Sometimes trauma can occur in the workplace. This can lead to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Types of trauma in the workplace: physical or sexual assault, harassment or bullying, witnessing violence or a traumatic event, a natural disaster or another major accident, a workplace accident or injury. And the symptoms of PTSD are flashbacks, avoiding reminders of the event, feeling detached or numb, having trouble sleeping, being easily startled or irritable, having trouble controlling the situation, having thoughts of suicide or self-harm. So the effect of trauma in the workplace: increased absenteeism, decreased productivity. Well, you can read these for yourself. Difficulty concentrating. There are many. Here are some countermeasures to trauma in the workplace. Pause now if you want to read in more detail. Let's take a brief look at well-being indicators. This is what we can do to find out whether we are struggling or whether we're likely to struggle in the future. This one I would recommend using with your staff. You can get them to fill out a BAT assessment, which is a burnout assessment tool. This is freely available on the internet, or we do this as part of our masterclass in Wellbeing, Executive Wellbeing. Burnout is made up of core symptoms and secondary symptoms. Exhaustion, mental distancing, cognitive impairment, and emotional impairment. And secondary symptoms: psychological stress and psychosomatic complaints. That's complaints of the body, so things like stomach aches, headaches, nausea. These can all occur with burnout. The burnout assessment tool is 23 questions, and I think there's an extra 5 questions for secondary symptoms. Executives should and could create a well-being dashboard, and that's exactly what we've done here at Harman Funter, and this is what we present to delegates on our Executive Wellbeing Masterclass. So business spirituality is our first assessment. This is a measure developed by Dr. Karen Valesco at University of Portsmouth, and this measures our spirituality with the work that we do, so our connection to the work that we do, our connectedness. Now this is classic. Everyone's heard of this, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's still crucial even 40 or 50 years after it was developed. It's a hierarchy of individual needs which start with psychological needs, safety and security, love and belonging, self-esteem, and ultimately you become self-actualized if you have all of those needs fulfilled. That's the theory. So we have an assessment which you can do, which enables you to understand which of your needs are being fulfilled and which aren't, and help you to focus on improving that situation. So the Holmes and Ray Stress Scale, also known as the Social Readjustment Rating Scale, the SRRS, is based on life events which can cause stress. And basically you fill in the assessment and it's based on the last 2 years of your lifetime. So you fill in any life events that have occurred and they have a score, and this can indicate how stressed you are and how likely you are to suffer from stress-related ailments. Clinical outcomes in routine evaluation. This is a great assessment. It focuses on 4 domains: well-being, which is the individual's overall sense of well-being, including their mood and energy, and problems. This is symptoms of mental health problems such as anxiety, depression, psychosis. Functioning, measures the individual's ability to carry out everyday activities. Risk measures the individual's risk of harming themselves or others. This is another great assessment which you can probably find online, but we also do it as part of our Executive Wellbeing Masterclass. So how do we develop a culture of well-being? Executive well-being is one thing. That's the first side of the coin. The other side of the coin is we need our staff to experience good well-being. We need them to be productive. We need them to feel well. We need them to be enjoying work. We need them to be ready to do the tasks that we have to direct them on. So here we go. First and foremost, we can get a baseline for our culture. We can do that with a cultural audit, with a simple fear and freedom matrix. Ideally, high freedom, low fear is the best type of organizational culture. In this organizational culture, people are fully responsible and able to make necessary decisions. There's little use of hierarchical power, free to express views. People are free to experiment with new ways to get results, and they feel their jobs are safe. On the negative side, if we have high fear, people are afraid of making changes or offering ideas or holding different opinions to their manager. They're just afraid of losing their jobs. If we have low freedom, people need to refer even the most trivial decisions to management. So there's a basic survey which you can use. It's best to interview employees, as many as you can, of course, though you can build up quite a good picture with only 2 or 3. And this leads to the conclusions here. Innovative, accepting of change, and experimental is the optimum situation, the optimum quadrant to be in, which is high freedom and low fear. And you can see in the bottom right quadrant, which is low freedom and high fear, dependence on the rules and precedents, resistance to change. Here are a couple of models of culture change. Culture change can take 5 to 10 years to complete. This is an age, but it is possible to improve things a lot quicker than that. These are 2 key findings of a piece of research which was undertaken in America by the government in America. 2 key findings. Top management must be totally committed to the change in both words and actions. Sounds obvious, but in too many cases that doesn't happen. And organizations must provide training that promotes and develops skills related to their desired values and beliefs. This is how you operationalize values and beliefs. Here from the same research are some other factors for success. Pause the screen to look at in more detail. So culture starts with the self. So especially as executives, we can't expect our workforce to be experiencing good well-being if we're not really looking after ourselves. These are the important things: stress management, sleep hygiene, exercise, nutrition, and work-life balance. 3 steps to developing culture. Identify the key dimensions of well-being. Assess the well-being of employees. You can do that with the BAT assessment and also with the cultural audit. And develop and implement a well-being program. Here are some things you can do to develop corporate culture. So pause on the video if you want to read these in detail. I'll read out a couple. Define a company vision, values and behaviours. Gather feedback from employees about your company's values, ideas and work methods to improve the workplace environment and performance. Again, pause here to read in more detail. Most importantly, your executives need to have their own well-being plan. This is absolutely crucial as an executive. You don't have to be a top executive at a FTSE 100, but any sort of directorship role is going to require a well-being plan. Even if you think you cope with stress well, it's still worth doing. It's still worth doing. We should also develop a well-being plan for the organisation. Thank you for your time. I have been Simon Eddy, and we have been Harman Funter Group. If you have any questions or you want to know more about our masterclasses or workshops, then you can visit our website at the address above, or just email me there on the address shown, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you very much.